Hare Krishna, my friends. Welcome to Bhaktiville. It's Friday, time for Srimad Bhagavatam. Welcome. So in this chapter that we're in, we've been reading about Narada Muni's life as a child. We read last week that at 5 years old, his mother died from a snake bite. It was quite tragic. But as a devotee, he took that as a sign from Krishna to pursue his spiritual life, which he learned from the sages, and so he started his journey north. This week we'll continue and see where he goes in his travels. We're in Canto 1, Chapter 6, Text 12. You can find that on page 322 of the PDF or page 289 of the book. But before we get started, let me offer my obeisances to Srila Prabhupada, who has given us all of this information. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prashtaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swamini Iti Namani. I offer my respectful obeisances unto His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, who is very dear to Lord Krishna, having taken shelter at his lotus feet. And please accept my most humble obeisances. Vanchakalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Pyevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. I also offer my respectful obeisances unto the Vaishnava devotees of the Lord. They are just like desire trees and can fulfill the desires of everyone, and they are full of compassion for the fallen, conditioned souls. So before we get started, we will sing those 4 little verses we have up there on the board. Let me cue them up here. All right. Here we go. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. O my Lord, the all-pervading personality of Godhead, I offer my respectful obeisances unto you. Narayanam namaskritya naram chaiva narottamam devim sarasvatim vyasam tatto jayam udirayet. Before reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is the very means of conquest, one should offer respectful obeisances unto the personality of Godhead, Narayana, unto Narayana Rishi, the supermost human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and unto Srila Vyasadeva, the author. Shrinvatam Swakata Krishna, Punya Shravana Kirtanaha, Pridyantasto Yabhadrani, Vidhu Noti Suhritsatam. Shri Krishna, the personality of Godhead, who is the Paramatma, Supersoul, in everyone's heart, and the benefactor of the truthful devotee, cleanses desire for material enjoyment from the heart of the devotee, who has developed the urge to hear his messages, which are in themselves virtuous when properly heard and chanted. Nashta Prayeshvabhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki. By regular attendance in classes on the Bhagavatam, and by rendering of service to the pure devotee, all that is troublesome to the heart is almost completely destroyed, and loving service under the personality of Godhead, who is praised with transcendental songs, is established as an irrevocable fact. All right, so again, we are on page 322 of the PDF or 289 of the book. Everybody good? Yeah, we haven't seen any new plates yet, have we? I see that plate 1 is up there. We haven't seen any new plates recently. I have to go over my notes about that. All right, text 12. Call and response. Chitradatu Vichitradu Jadrin Chitradatu Vichitradim Ibabagna Bhujadrumam Ibhavagna Bhujadrumam Jalashayan Chiva Jalan Jalashayan Chiva Jalan Nalini Surasevitaha Nalini Surasevitaha Chitrasvanai Patrarataya Chitrasvanai Patrarataya Vibramad Brahmarashriyaha Vibramad Brahmarashriyaha. All right, so let's do it all together. Chitradatu Vichitradrin Ibabagna Bhujadruman Jalashayan Chiva Jalan Nalini Surasevitaha Chitrasvanai Patrarataye Vibramad Pramara Shriyaha. All right, Kandita.
Chitra dahu vichitradrin ibabagna pujadruman jalashayan chiba jalan nalini surasevataha chitra svanai patra ratayar ibrahad ramara shriyaha.
Jai. It's an odd one because it's so much longer than the others. But anyway, Chitradhatu, valuable minerals like gold, silver, copper, etc. Vichitra, full of variegatedness. Adrin, hills and mountains. Ibabagna, broken by the giant elephants. Bhuja, branches. Druman, trees. Jala Shayan Shiva, health-giving. Jalan, reservoirs of water. Nalinihi, lotus flowers. Sura Sevitaha, aspired to by the denizens of heaven. Chitra Svanai, pleasing to the heart. Patra Ratai, by the birds. Vibramat, bewildering. Brahmara Shriyaha, decorated by drones. I don't know, but all of a sudden I got, ouch, cat is on me. I got a bunch of messages. I'm going to turn my sound off for a moment and deal with the cat. I'll be right back. Well, sorry, typical of a cat, she will not be dealt with. All right, translation. I passed through hills and mountains full of reservoirs of various minerals like gold, silver, and copper, and through tracts of land with reservoirs of water filled with beautiful lotus flowers, fit for the denizens of heaven, decorated with bewildered bees and singing birds. I like that, bewildered bees. All right, next, text 13. Call and response. Nalavenu Sharastamba Nalavenu Sharastamba Kusha Kichaka Gavaram Kusha Kinchaka Gavaram Eka Evatyatoham. Oh, sorry. It just kept going, that one. Adraksham Vipinam Mahat Adraksham Vipinam Mahat Goram Pratipayakaram Goram Pratipayakaram Vyaloluka Shivajiram Vyaloluka Shivajiram. All right, all together. Nalavenu Sharastanba Kushakichakavaram Eka Eva Toham Draksham Vipinam Mahat Goram Pratibhayakaram Vyalolukashivajiram.
Nalavenu Shadastanba Kusha Kichakagabaram Eka Eva Tiyatoham Adraksham Vipinam Mahat Goram Prati Bayakaram Yaloluka Shiva Jiram.
Perfect, thank you. Word for word. Nala, pipes. Venu, bamboo. Shadaha, pens. Tanba, full of. Kusha, sharp grass. Kichaka, weeds. Gavaram, caves. Eka, alone. Eva, only. Atiyataha, difficult to go through. Aham, I. Adraksham, visited. Vipinam, deep forests. Mahat, great. Goram, fearful. Pratibhayakaram, dangerously. Vyala, snakes. Uluka, owls. Shiva, jackals. Ajiram, playgrounds. Translation. I then passed alone through many forests of bamboo, sharp grass, weeds, and caves, which were very difficult to go through alone. I visited deep, dark, and dangerously fearful forests, which were the play yards of snakes, owls, and jackals. And remember, he's just 5 years old, right? Kandita says, oops, I can't read it, hang on. How scary it must have been walking through all of this alone as a child. Yes, exactly. But he kept going because it was his instruction, right, from his those sages. Purport. It is the duty of a mendicant, Parivrajacharya, to experience all varieties of God's creation by traveling alone through all forests, hills, towns, villages, etc., to gain faith in God and strength of mind, as well as to enlighten the inhabitants with the message of God. The sannyasi is duty-bound to take all these risks without fear, and the most typical sannyasi of the present age is Lord Chaitanya, who traveled in the same manner through the central Indian jungles, enlightening even the tigers, bears, snakes, deers, elephants, and many other jungle animals. In this age of Kali, sannyasa is forbidden for ordinary men. One who changes his dress to make propaganda is a different man from the original ideal sannyasi. One should, however, take the vow to stop social intercourse completely and devote life exclusively to the service of the Lord. The change of dress is only a formality. Lord Chaitanya did not accept the name of a sannyasi, and in this age of Kali, the so-called sannyasis should not change their former names, following in the footsteps of Lord Chaitanya. In this age, devotional service of hearing and repeating the holy glories of the Lord is strongly recommended, and one who takes the vow of renunciation of family life need not imitate the Parivrajacharya like Narada or Lord Chaitanya, but may sit down at some holy place and devote his whole time and energy to hear and repeatedly chant the holy scriptures left by the great acharyas, like the 6 Goswamis of Vrindavan. Right, Kandita has something to say. She says, who fed him either? Please explain. We do that now.
Um, no, I'm talking about the change of names at
I don't.
sannyas. The men, right these days, they do change their names at sannyas.
I don't know. When Prabhupada was here, Hridayananda just became Hridayananda Maharaj, and Satsvarup just became Satsvarup Maharaj. They didn't change their names.
Yeah, so I don't know what, yeah, I don't know what's going on with that. Why,
Are they doing that now? They're changing their names. They're adding other things. Well, they can add things like Bhaktivedanta is a title. They're different sannyas titles. They might add.
like Babru Das is now Swami Bhaktivedanta Ashram Maharaj, and then Gunya Sham became Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj, and seems like sannyasis nowadays do accept and change their names.
Okay,
And
so are they within ISKCON? Or are they in different mats?
I don't know about different mats. Maybe they do.
They do in different mats. And my other question is, well, I have a couple more questions. One, are they Prabhupada disciples, these people?
Yeah.
Okay, and then the other one is, are there sannyas gurus within ISKCON or outside? I think,
With Babru, it was Tripurari who's outside of ISKCON.
okay, so yeah, so I would think that, not everybody has the same standard as Srila Prabhupada, and so they're doing something differently.
Yeah, and then, well, Gunya Shyam, Prabhupada named, that black devotee, and I think he took sannyas from another ISKCON devotee and was retitled Bhaktirtha, who
Yeah,
was full devotee.
right. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what they're doing. I mean, it's pretty
I
clear.
just I didn't realize that they're not supposed to change. Okay.
You could write to the sannyas ministry and ask and
Yeah.
quote this and ask, what's going on? Why is this happening? Prabhupada very clearly states this shouldn't happen.
Yeah. So that's in this what we're reading right now. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
here it's
So there is a sannyas ministry, ISKCON sannyas ministry,
okay.
and you can write to them and ask,
Yeah.
what's the deal?
What's
That
the
would be
deal?
great to know. Bhaktiville says he even said that sannyas is forbidden for ordinary men. Right. That we don't need to imitate the Paravajakacharya. Prabhupada was pretty clear that, you should take care of yourself, get out of this in this lifetime. He was pretty clear about that. But, we still need people to go around and preach. And we'll read that in the next couple of verses. And I think that the people who do that are not ordinary. They're pretty extraordinary. They can shloka like nobody's business. They can remember things, and
Agree with that. I definitely agree with that. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So you also asked who fed him. Okay, that also comes up in a couple of verses. So that will be answered also. Okay. Okay. Text 14. Call and response. Oh, that's one huge, big, long word. Okay, I'll shorten it up. Parishrantendriyat. I can't. Let's just do the whole word. Parishrantendriyat mahan. Chitparito bubukshitaha. Chitparito bubukshitaha. Snatva pitva Hradenadya. Snatva pitva Hradenadya. Upasprishto gatashramaha. Sorry, I didn't break that one up either. I got caught up because I like that sprishto. All right, let's do the whole verse. Parishantendriyatmaham chitparito bubukshitaha snatva pitva pradenadya upasprishto katashamaha.
Okay, here goes. Parishantendriyat maham Tritparito bubukshitaha snatva pitva hradenadya upasprito gatashramaha.
Excellent, thank you. All right, word for word. Purishanta, being tired. Indriya, bodily. Atma, mentally. Aham, I. Chitparitaha, being thirsty. Bubukshitaha, and hungry. Snatva, taking a bath. Pitva, drinking water also. Shrade, in the lake. Nadyaha, of a river. Upasprishtaha, being in contact with. Gata, got relief. Shramaha, tiredness. Translation. Thus traveling, I felt tired, both bodily and mentally, and I was both thirsty and hungry. So I took a bath in a river lake and also drank water. By contacting water, I got relief from my exhaustion. Report. A traveling mendicant can meet the needs of the body, namely thirst and hunger, by the gifts of nature, without being a beggar at the doors of the householders. The mendicant therefore does not go to the house of a householder to beg, but to enlighten him spiritually. Text 15. Tasmin niramujeranye. Tasmin niramujeranye. Pipalopasta ashritaha. Pipalopasta ashritaha. Atmanatmanam. Atmastam. Atma atmanam atmastam. Yata shrutam achintayam. Yata shrutam achintayam. And the whole verse. Tasmin nirmanujeranye pipalopasta ashritaha atmanatmanam atmastam yata shrutam achintayam.
Tasmin nirmanujeranye pipalopasta ashritaha atmanatmanam atmastam yata shrutam achintayam.
Perfect, thank you. So the cat ended up on my lap, so she's doing much better now. Tasmin, in that, nirmanuje, without human habitation. Aranye, in the forest. Pipala, banyan tree. Upastha, sitting under it. Ashritaha, taking shelter of. Atmana, by intelligence. Atmanam, the supersoul. Atmanam, situated within myself. Yata shrutam, as I heard it from the liberated souls. Achintayam, thought over. Kandita, I think your microphone is still on.
Okay, sorry. Thank you for letting me know.
Translation. After that, under the shadow of a banyan tree, in an uninhabited forest, I began to meditate upon the Supersoul situated within, using my intelligence as I had learned from liberated souls. Purport. One should not meditate according to one's personal whims. One should know perfectly well from the authoritative sources of scriptures, through the transparent medium of a bona fide spiritual master, and by proper use of one's trained intelligence, for meditating upon the Supersoul dwelling within every living being. This consciousness is firmly developed by a devotee who has rendered loving service unto the Lord by carrying out the orders of the spiritual master. Sri Naradaji contacted a bona fide spiritual master, served him sincerely, and got enlightenment rightly. Thus he began to meditate. Text 16. Oh, call and response. Dhya yatash charanam bojam. Dhya yatash charanam bojam. Bhava nirjita cetasa. Bhava nirjita cetasa. Outkantyashru kalakshasya. Outkantyashru kalakshasya. Vidyasin me shaner harihi. Vidyasin me shaner harihi. And then all together. Dhyayatas charanam bojam bhavanirjita cetasa outkantyashru kalakshasya vidyasin me shaner harihi.
Jaya Taschara Nambojam Bhavanirjita Chetasa Alkantyashru Kalakshasya Vidyasin Me Shanar Hare.
Great, thank you. Word for word. Dhyayataha, thus meditating upon. Charanam bojam, lotus feet of the localized personality of Godhead. So in your heart. Bhavanirjita, mind transformed into transcendental love for the Lord. Cetasa, all mental activities, thinking, feeling, and willing. Outkantya, eagerness. Ashrukala, tears rolled down. Akshasya, of the eyes. Hrithi, within my heart. Asit, appeared. Me, my. Shanai, without delay. Hari, the personality of Godhead. Translation. As soon as I began to meditate with my mind, transformed in transcendental love upon the lotus feet of the personality of Godhead, tears rolled down my eyes, and without delay, the personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, appeared on the lotus of my heart. Jai. Purport. The word bhava is significant here. This bhava stage is attained after one has transcendental affection for the Lord. The first initial stage is called shraddha, or a liking for the Supreme Lord. And in order to increase that liking, one has to associate with pure devotees of the Lord. So that's sadhusanga, the second stage. The third stage is to practice the prescribed rules and regulations of devotional service. This will dissipate all sorts of misgivings and remove all personal deficiencies that hamper progress in devotional service. And I just want to stop reading for a second. And if we can rotate our cameras around. You have to go lay down. Okay. Do you want me to call you? Oh, okay. All right. So keep it on and you can hear what's going on. All right. So if you could rotate your camera, I hope you feel better, Kandita. This is happening a lot. So I've put this chart on the back behind us. And this is from a translation of Madhurya Kadambini. I'm trying to get my camera to get there so I can see it more clearly. Nope, I can't. But I have mine open on my computer. But it goes through the main stem of this. This is the Bhakti Lata, the vine, the Bhakti vine, right? So it starts out there at the bottom, what Srila Prabhupada is saying there. He says it starts out with Shraddha, the awakening of faith, and then progresses, grows sadhusanga by associating with saints, and then bhajana kriya, and he doesn't use the Sanskrit in his work because he wanted to make it accessible to everyone. So he didn't always use the Sanskrit words. So the practice of devotional service, bhajana kriya. But if you keep going up this vine, anartha nivritti, the clearing of obstacles to bhakti. And in this chart, it gives you more information on either side of the leaves. It adds more information. So it gives the last 5 obstacles before Nishta, and Nishta is unshakable resolve, and Ruchi is the taste for bhajan, Asakti, attachment to Krishna, and finally Bhava, the transcendental emotion. So, so if you want to look at that while I'm reading, or the box there, and we'll post this in Bhaktiville too, a link to this chart, our Facebook page, so you can see it on your computer more clearly. But keep these things in mind as I continue reading in this purport, because Prabhupada goes through all these stages without mentioning the Sanskrit, but he's giving all of these areas of growth for us. They're not steps. I was looking for illustrations for this, and I was like, darn, I'm just going to use this Bhakti Lata chart. And they're not stages. They're areas of growth. Different, right? All right. So the second paragraph here in the purport. When all misgivings and personal deficiencies are removed, there is a standard faith in transcendental matter, and a taste for it increases in greater proportion. This stage leads to attraction, and after this there is bhava, or the prior stage of unalloyed love for God. All the above different states are but different stages of development of transcendental love. Being so surcharged with transcendental love, there comes a strong feeling of separation, which leads to 8 different kinds of ecstasies. Tears from the eyes of devotee is an automatic reaction, and because Sri Narada Muni, in his previous birth, attained that stage very quickly after his departure from home, it was quite possible for him to perceive the actual presence of the Lord, which he tangibly experienced by his developed spiritual senses without material tinge. Okay, so I hope you'll take some time to look at this chart because they really did a good job putting this little chart together. Any questions, Bhakti? Nope, no questions. Okay. All right, so we'll continue with the reading. Text 17. Cullen's response. Prematibhara nirbina. Prematibhara nirbina. Pulakango tinirvitaha. Pulakango tinirvitaha. Ananda samplavelino. Ananda samplavelino. Na pashyam ubhayam mune. Na pashyam ubhayam mune. And we'll do it all together. Prematibhara nirbina. Pulakango tinirvitaha. Ananda saplavolino. Nampasham upayam mune. So Kandita's resting, so we won't hear from her right now. So we'll go on to word for word. Prema, love. Atibhara, excessive. Nirpina, especially distinguished. Pulaka, feelings of happiness. Angaha, different bodily parts. Atinir viptaha, being fully overwhelmed. Ananda, ecstasy. Samplave, in the ocean of. Linaha, absorbed in. Na, not. Apashyam, could see. Upayam, both. Mune, O Vyasadeva. Translation. O Vyasadeva, at that time, being exceedingly overpowered by feelings of happiness, every part of my body became enlivened. Being absorbed in an ocean of ecstasy, I could not see both myself and the Lord. Purport. Spiritual feeling of happiness and intense ecstasies have no mundane comparison. Therefore, it is very difficult to give expression to such feelings. We can just have a glimpse of such ecstasy in the words of Sri Narada Muni. Each and every part of the body or senses has its particular function. After seeing the Lord, all the senses become fully awakened to render service unto the Lord, because in the liberated state, the senses are fully efficient in serving the Lord. As such, in that transcendental ecstasy, it so happened that the senses became separately enlivened to serve the Lord. This being so, Narada Muni lost himself in seeing both himself and the Lord simultaneously. I think we have time for one more. Text 18. Bhaktiville says, okay, all right, so we'll go on. Text 18. Rupam Bhagavato Yattan. Rupam Bhagavato Yattan. Manakantam Shuchapaham. Manakantam Shuchapaham. Apashyan Sahasotaste. Apashyan Sahasotaste. Lavyad Durmana Eva. Excuse me. Lavad Durmana Eva. All right, all together. Rupam Bhagavato Yatan Manakantam Shuchapaham Apashan Sahasotaste Vaiklavyad Durmana Iva. Word for word. Rupam, from or form. Bhagavataha, of the personality of Godhead. Yat, as it is. Tat, that. Manaha, of the mind. Kantam, as it desires. Shuchapaham, banishing all disparity. Apasyan, without seeing. Sahasa, all of a sudden. Utaste, got up. Pravyat, being perturbed, Durmana, having lost the desirable, Eva, as it were. Translation. The transcendental form of the Lord, as it is, manifests according to the mind's desire, and at once erases all mental incongruities. Upon losing that form, I suddenly got up, being perturbed, as is usual when one loses that which is desirable. Let me read that again. The transcendental form of the Lord, as it is, manifests according to the mind's desire, and at once erases all mental incongruities. Upon losing that form, I suddenly got up, being perturbed, as is usual when one loses that which is desirable. Purport. That the Lord is not formless is experienced by Narada Muni. But his form is completely different from all forms of our material experience. For the whole duration of our life, we go see different forms in the material world, but none of them is just apt to satisfy the mind, nor can any one of them banish all perturbance of the mind. These are the special features of the transcendental form of the Lord, and one who has once seen that form is not satisfied with anything else, and no form in the material world can any longer satisfy the seer. Formless means nothing like material form, nor is he like any material personality. So when we read in translations that the Lord is without form, this is what it means. Formless means nothing like material form. So, as spiritual beings, having eternal relations with that transcendental form of the Lord, we are, life after life, searching after that form of the Lord. We are not satisfied by any other form of material appeasement. Narada Muni got a glimpse of this, but having not seen it again, he became perturbed and stood up all of a sudden to search it out. What we desire, life after life, was obtained by Narada Muni, and losing sight of him again was certainly a great shock for him. And we'll stop there. So there we have it, Narada Muni, one of our foremost acharyas in our lineage, telling us a little bit about his early life, and something that we can aspire to, I think. Bhaktiville says he had a nice experience in addition to his hardship. Bhaktiville also says definitely aspired to, yes. Narada Muni. When I was a brahmacharini, the kids used to sing about Narada Muni all the time. I don't know why, but you'd see a little kid, at the Gurukula, Narada Muni Bhajaya. They would just sing about him. It's like, oh, that's cool. I like Narada Muni. I mean, he travels around the universes in his form with his Veena singing about Krishna. Pretty amazing. How Bhaktivinoda says, how can someone not like Narada Muni? It's a fact. People used to call him the transcendental spaceman. It reminds you sometimes of Mercury, he says. Bhaktivinoda says. Kandita says, thank you very much for the class and your association. Thank you so much for your association. And I just want to reiterate, I am no expert on this. I'm just reading these things that Srila Prabhupada gave us and sharing it with you, and love to hear your questions and comments. Thank you so much for letting me be here. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare
Hari
Krishna, Hare Bol.